so this is the craziest thing that I've actually learned, is that really marketing is not as much creative as much as it is data. So you have to actually be able to understand the data and take data points, analyze it, and figure out what's working, what's not working.
Welcome to Content Kingdom. This is your backstage pass to the people, tools, and the trends shaping the future of content marketing.
Welcome to Content Kingdom. I'm your host, David G. Ewing. And with me today is an old friend who's here for a new episode. And so that's Karim Abed, CEO of WYR, coming in all the way from London, UK, man. How are you doing today, Karim?
Good. How are you, David? How's everything going?
All right. It has been going extremely well. So I know it's getting late over there. So we'll go ahead and get started. So Karim is the CEO of WYR, which is an online men's basic clothing company. And Karim, I gotta say, I'm wearing your long sleeve shirt right now. This thing is fantastic. What is it called?
Yeah, it's not bad. You are one of the most loyal fans out there, so I do appreciate the support always. And yeah, man, you're rocking pretty awesomely. So
awesome. So Karim, one of the things that you feature on your site a lot is this is Egyptian cotton, and you're an Egyptian dude, right?
Yep.
Yeah. You're the only Egyptian guy I really know. I mean, and I have to say, like, you don't walk like an Egyptian. Yeah.
No.
I thought you're nothing like the video.
So I think I've got the corporate lingo and corporate dictionary kind of down pat. So I've worked in corporate American for I'd say like 12 years before starting WYR. And
they're just begging to start WYR at that point.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was in finance. I was in operational finance, and I was like, man, I feel like I'd like to make good decisions on my own behalf and make my own money instead of making company money. So like, this is the way to go. And frankly, with the way WYR started was I initially wanted to get into sunglasses. And I figured, you know what, this is really not my area of expertise. I don't really know anyone in sunglasses. There's not really anything that I can associate with. Funny enough, my now wife, who was back then my girlfriend, her family was in the fabric business in Egypt. They did a lot of clothing in Egypt back in the day. And so I was able to connect with their old production manager. And I was like, hey, are you going to be able to hook me up with this guy? And she did. I went back before COVID in 2020. This was all when I was working still like a corporate 9-to-5 job. Like I was a director of finance. It was fun. So I went back and I met this guy. I hired him on the spot, and we started working through like materials and fabrics for, the next 6 months. And then we launched in June 2020.
So, okay. So I've heard about Egyptian cotton before, and everybody's heard of Egyptian cotton, but like, I don't know, is that just like a marketing thing, or is there like actually something cool about Egyptian cotton? What makes it so special?
Listen, with everything, there is some sort of a marketing ploy. Let me think about like American Pima cotton. I mean, Pima cotton's awesome. But I mean, technically the Pima cotton strain is the same as the Egyptian cotton strain. They're both like super high quality, long staple cotton fabrics. Yeah. I mean, the difference is one is grown in Egypt and one is grown in the US, or one can be
that's it.
Yeah. No, that's it. I mean, the strains are the same, but the ultimate output is kind of different because obviously it's a different environment, different soils, all that good stuff. So no, it is not just a marketing ploy. It is actually Egyptian cotton grown in Egypt. And frankly, it's actually quite rare to buy Egyptian cotton. What's even more rare is buying the specific type of cotton that we buy. So we actually buy the yarn. So there's different grades of Egyptian cotton. There's a specific kind of Egyptian cotton called Giza cotton. And within Giza cotton, there's like subsets of, if it was grown in this area, then it would be like, Giza 94. If it was grown in that area, it'd be like, so it's like a specific subset of the Giza cotton that we specifically buy. We buy those in tons, right? And like, way in advance, because we know that that's the fabric we need. You can't just go buy Giza Egyptian cotton like from,
can't just get that on Amazon.
Yeah, no, you really can't. It's and a lot of people actually say that they have Egyptian cotton, or they promote it, but they don't actually use it because it's just
Is it more expensive?
It's super expensive. It is like 4 times more expensive than like a regular cotton
And
pad.
so, yeah, but okay. So then tell me about the story you're trying to tell with your brand, because, when we go to WYR and you go to the WYR site, it seems to me your position is, hey, this is basic stuff. It's high quality and it's a low price, right? So how does the Egyptian cotton part fit into the story that you want to tell when you're trying to tell the story and launch the product?
Yeah. So at the inception of WYR, the way I was thinking about the brand positioning of this company was, you've got your like cheaper brands, the, $20, $15 t-shirt. It's made from, polyester tri-blend that's marketed as like this nice fabric, whatever. So you got the cheaper brands that, that are kind of, they don't necessarily advertise their lifestyle marketing necessarily, but they're just, a cheaper brand. So they play on cost, and value. And then there's, expensive brands that are $50, $60 shirts, Lululemon, et cetera. They're like, okay, if you are this kind of person, you live this kind of lifestyle, then you buy Lululemon, and it's nice fabric and it's nice quality and everything. But I mean, is it really worth $60? So that's where
expensive.
so that's where I came, and I was like, well, it's probably not really worth that much. I bet, my finance brain was thinking, I was like, I bet that a lot of that cost structure actually is overhead, like middlemen. So let's say if they manufacture in China, they don't go have, they don't have a team in China. They probably have like, 10 people that go outsource stuff for them, so that, and then the factories that produce it for them, they probably have,
so there's like a lot of supply chain, just hammering away and marking it up all the way through.
Yeah. There's a big line in the logistics chain, and they're kind of at the end. So there's a price that they pay to, get that. And then secondarily, like that lifestyle marketing, that sexy lifestyle marketing costs money. You pay a lot for models, you pay a lot for high production advertising, you pay a lot for like, brand sponsor, whatever it may be, right? So all of these things cost a lot of money that, like, if I was a guy that's just looking for something that's super high quality, like, I don't want to pay for this crap, right? I just want to pay for the nuts and bolts.
Pay for models.
Exactly. Like, I want to pay for the nuts and bolts that make my shirt good or make my clothing good. So the inception was like, I just want to be focused on fit and fabric, the two things that are, to me, I think the pillars of what make clothing great. And that's all we're going to focus on. We're not going to spend money on other things outside of that scope to the extent that we can.
Are you saying that you're trying to make clothing great again?
Oh shit, that is not. But I guess if you could think about it, if you think about it that way, then maybe
make clothing great again. That's Karim Abed coming at you from Egypt. All right, here we go. So So it's like great quality stuff, right? And you have no logo on any of your clothes, right? So there's no logo. It's just like a solid color. Like I've got solid green on right now. I have you have a solid white shirt. We're both wearing WYR. And so everything's a solid color, right? So no t-shirt graphic, no crazy logo. Yeah. Your prices are really low. Like, I mean, for this shirt, like I have a shirt that's like it from another brand. I won't mention who it is, but I paid 3 times the price for it. And I'm looking at it in my closet, and I'm sitting there going, I can't tell the difference. Like, I mean, the quality is the same, or actually, I think yours is a little bit better. So that's part of your story as well. So you come up with this concept, right? Yeah, great quality clothes. Maybe not make clothes great again, but whatever you've got here,
Don't hit the slogan. It might work out.
And you came out in 2020, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk content marketing. So you've got this story, you've got all this stuff. What did you try to do in 2020 and didn't work?
Yeah, so it was a struggle. I mean, we started out with, back to the whole models thing, like one of the first blunders that we did was basically, we hired like local Egyptian models. And I was like, all right, well, I've got a friend in Egypt. Maybe he can take some photography for me and all that. And we started the website out with just like samples and then, a bunch of no-name models. And it wasn't expensive, right? But we got no sales for the first 2 months, like at all. Absolutely none, right?
Really? Like zero? Or you mean like just friends or
zero? Like my mom, my mom made a sale, right? Like my mom was my first sale. I was like, you can't be a first sale.
Did she give the shirt to you? Because it's only men's clothes, right? She's like, here, Karim, I bought this for you.
No, she actually wears my
It's weird. So, maybe that's 2025. You can wear 2020. You can wear whatever you want. So, all right. So, okay. So she kept it for herself. That's good.
Yeah. So anyways, first couple of months or first month and a half, we didn't get any sales. And I'm like, what the hell's happening? Like, this is the worst idea I've ever done in my life. Like, this sucks, right? And I'm kind of a numbers guy, so I keep like digging through the numbers, looking at like the click-through rate on the ads that we have, how many people visit the website, what's happening, where are they dropping off, and it's just like we're getting traffic, but we're getting no sales. So what the hell's happening? So I was like, it must be the pictures. The pictures don't really look that great. So this is back to content marketing. I was like, well, all right, you have to at least have models that represent your audience, right? Like they need to not look like they're a bunch of foreigners, like that, scrawny arms or whatever. Like they need to actually be American models, people that look good, people that actually at least look somewhat, aspirational to the person looking. I mean, it doesn't need to be someone that is not necessarily you, but it needs to be someone that's like a little bit
more I can identify with, right?
You can identify with. So what I did back in the day, because I didn't really have a marketing budget, this is like bootstrap, right? Went on to Facebook Marketplace, bought a DSLR camera, and then found some model, like literally went through agencies and Instagram looking for dudes, which was, found a couple
of awkward.
Found a couple of guys. I bet this guy would be a great model. And
this guy looks hot.
I hired exactly. Well, I hired a couple of models, went to the studio, went and took some pictures. Like it was my first time working a DSLR, but dude, it worked. Like literally the day after I put the new model pictures on my website, we got sales.
So
it wasn't like one or two sales. We actually got sales.
You got sales, and it wasn't just from mom, right?
Yeah, and that was lesson number one. I was like, content is so important, and it's so pivotal to an e-commerce brand specifically, because think of it like your store. Like you can't. If I'm a customer going into your store, it can't just be a bunch of trash, like not and stuff that's not really necessarily that fits on models or disorganized shelves. It has to be super clean. It has to be frictionless to the extent possible. The content needs to represent how you want the items to look on a person. So because there's no actual store, it has your website has to be pristine. So lesson number one, content was king, and models needed to be accurate. It needed to represent the audience that I was trying to sell to. So probably not my biggest blunder, but my first blunder and my first really big lesson into like how content is super important to what we were doing. So
okay, got it. All right, so you got people that look like your target market up on the site then, right? And so people are starting to see it, and now they're buying the shirts, right? So it's 2020. What are you, 2 months into the business now, and orders are starting to come in the door?
Yeah, orders are coming into the door, but the problem is they weren't really coming in with the velocity that I wanted them to, right? So, step number two was, all right, well, the really hard thing to do with what I'm doing is, because these are basics, or what I'd like to say essentials, men's essentials. So it's just a white t-shirt, logoless. It fits really well. It feels really great. But how do you actually deliver that message to someone who has never touched or felt your brand or has seen you ever at all?
Okay. Because you got to feel this kind to know what it is. Right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're like, whatever, these guys are bullshitting.
Exactly. So the most difficult thing is to actually convince someone online to be like, you know what, let me give these guys a shot, as opposed to the thousands of other t-shirt brands or clothing brands that are out there, or even the brand that I trust the most, or like Adidas or Nike, whatever it may be.
Right. And how often are people actually out there looking for like a brand new clothing company? Like, I need something totally new, right? That's just, nobody thinks that way,
I've got to convince you somehow, some way that I'm different, even though on the looks of it, looks kind of the same, right? Like you can't really comprehend it until you actually get it. Okay. So that was the next big trick. So I hired several marketing firms that I fired within, a month or so of hiring them, because none of them were really able to crack the code of what is really WYR's unique selling proposition, and how do I deliver that to the end consumer in a way that is palatable and easy to listen to, and for someone to actually be able to like digest it and say, man, I'm convinced enough to go buy this. So that was the most difficult thing. And frankly, like what I learned after firing all these people and all these like, marketing gurus and whatever it may be, is that it's all just data. And, as the CEO and as like the most bootstrap person that I've met, I was just like, I'll go test stuff out myself. So
Yeah, I mean, you are a data guy. I mean, you came from finance, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so this is like your sweet spot. So marketing is data. That's really what you're saying.
That's so this is the craziest thing that I've actually learned is that, in 2025, actually back in 2020, with Instagram and Facebook marketing and Google marketing, really marketing is not as much creative as much as it is data. So you can't just be like, an artist who just thinks, okay, I'm going to market this thing and it's going to be great. No, you have to actually be able to understand the data and take data points, analyze it, and figure out what's working, what's not working, and then like add to it or subtract from it or like test something else. It's all about just testing a hypothesis.
This is a laboratory, right? This is science.
Exactly.
Got it. All right.
So then what I did was I created like several different messaging, ad campaigns, and I launched them, found out things that work best. I was like, what's really my target audience? What am I looking for? What are people's pain points? How do I address them? How do I break them down? And how do I convince people that, listen, our brand WYR actually solves that problem? And that's it. And really the key to it was getting a spokesperson ad, literally like a regular dude speaking to the camera and just explaining why our shirts are better than everyone else's shirts. Logically, just breaking down, here's why ours are better. And
so works. That was the home run ball then, right? So I have that ad queued up. That's the one like your shoot suck, right? That one.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, so there was actually a predecessor to that ad.
Oh yeah.
Less punchy, but it also worked. So I was like, all right, well, I need to double down on that concept, and this is the double down.
All right. So let's take a look at the actual video. I've got it up on Instagram here, and let's watch this and break this down. So so first up, before I press play, who is this guy? Tell me a little bit about this guy.
His name is Brando. He's a guy that he's a model that an agency hired on our behalf for a previous campaign when we actually had this model just did like an iPhone ad, and he got so many likes and so much views. I was like, dude, this is the guy.
This is the guy.
Man, he looks good.
That's cool. He kind of looks like he looks to me like Matt Damon sort of,
So it's funny. Look at the first comment there. Great value, Brad Pitt. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Somebody thinks he looks like Brad Pitt. So
because this guy gets like a lot of hate and also a lot of love on the comments. It's insane.
He does.
Because this video blew up so much, and this guy's like, I mean, we spoke 6 months ago. He's like, man, I love your shirts, but dude, your ad campaign has been one of those ones that I've done in my life where like people literally stop me at the gym and they're like, are you the WYR guy? I'm like,
oh man. All right, let's see what WYR guy opens up with. So let's listen to the first sentence of this. So here we go.
I know because I've tried all these online shirt brands. Let me save you some time and money to show you what I've done.
All right. So so he keys it up, and now he swaps to this shirt, right? So is this a WYR shirt that he's wearing right now?
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, is this a WYR? No, this is a competitor's brand. The first one.
Okay. Yeah. So first he's gonna trash your competition. Here we go.
This brand's fabric feels like plastic and makes me sweat. No thanks. This shirt is way overpriced at $60. Because a lot of athletes wear it. I don't know. Who cares? I don't need to try that hard to look good anyway.
Well, this guy doesn't need to try that hard to look that good anyway, huh? So, all right. So he slams ads. You guys, you're hearing this, right, Karim? Yep. All right. Cool. All right. So, so he's not positioned you exactly where you want to be positioned, right? You said you didn't want to be low-end polyester. And he also said, like, you don't need to be this high-end thing with models, right? Of course, he's right. But now he's gonna make the change. He's gonna turn things, right?
He's like, well, I also don't want to be wearing these other cheaper brands because they also feel cheap. So,
okay. So you got to knock that up too. Okay. So here comes the next part of this content. Here we go.
These brands are cheaper, but they also feel cheap. I can do better. That's why I wear white.
All right. Okay. So he's now disarmed all the competition, right? And he set up your positioning. So here we go.
So let me go back actually to the first, because your first question was a really good one. Was why did you pick? Listen, your shirts suck. I mean, it's just the hook, right? I mean, we know from based on the data out there is the first 2 to 3 seconds is basically when someone you either continue watching or you don't continue watching. So it had to be something that was very like emphatic, and it either like offended you, it annoyed you, it made you like just want to see what this guy's about, like just this one little thing that made you want to look for the next like for second number 4 or second number 5. We actually tried different intros, like literally different hooks. We'll call it different hooks.
Yeah.
I always test content with different hooks because you want to also be able to test what works better, what has a higher click-through rate. You know, the alternative to this definitely didn't perform as good as this one, but the listen your shirt sucks thing, like there's lots. If you also scroll through the comments, it's funny. You'll see people that are like annoyed, like this is just an ad, guys. Like chill out. But it's funny. But anyways, the being annoying slightly is good because it just makes you want to watch for a little bit. So that's that. And then yeah. Just based on all the reviews that I had at that point, because this was like year 2 of WYR. We had data points, we had reviews, we had all kinds of things that tell us what people actually liked about the shirts. I just took the opposite of like, okay, these are the things that they probably don't like. So I want to like specifically like shoot down different competition based on the things that we do better than them. So,
okay. So hit them right between the eyes with this like grab, right? Because you've got like these 2 seconds. Because a lot of times I've seen this ad, like if I'm about to watch something on YouTube, I'll get an ad come up and it'll be this. Actually, you know what? The coolest thing your ads ever did. I was watching the Super Bowl on YouTube TV, and your ad, you got a Super Bowl TV ad with me, like on YouTube television. That was pretty cool. And
I had no idea.
My wife freaked out. She's like, how did WYR get it added the Super Bowl? So anyway, yeah, that was you got some nice position there. So you should send in the fruit basket. But
yeah,
right, here we go. Let's go to, all right. So now it's time to make sure it's great again. So here we go, right? Like this is the next part of the ad where we do this. Let's watch this.
Shirts are made of premium cotton with a 4-way stretch, so they're soft, breathable, comfortable. It's not too tight, it shows off my arms, drapes just right. With savings, when you bundle any 3 or more shirts, WYR's quality for the price makes it great.
All right. So there it is. There's the pitch for the story, right? And that was done really nicely, Karim. Like that was very concise, right? I mean, what was that? 4 sentences to just get the exact, every selling point about the shirt done, just bang, 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 right?
Yeah. With this ad specifically, like we don't use enough humor, frankly. Like it probably could be, if it was slightly more humorous, maybe it would have caught more attention, but it's got that little like, I kind of hate this guy, but I kind of want to be like him a little bit vibe. And he says enough annoying things to where you're like, jerk, I want to look, but I still want to keep watching, right?
Yeah, as long as nobody knows that I want to look like this guy.
Yeah. And then there's a scene before that where he's not naked, he's shirtless, right?
Yeah.
And I was very specific that we really needed a scene where he's shirtless, because one thing I've also learned is that having a thumbnail of a video on Instagram or on Facebook, like a lot of times when you're on low power mode or you don't have like auto play on your Facebook or Instagram, you just watch the thumbnail, and lots of people don't, just scroll through it. So having like a shirtless dude actually works really well with click-through rate and watch through time. So
everybody likes the skin, man. So yeah, there we go.
Weird. Even guys, which was not. And then this,
hey, the data didn't lie, right? So there you go.
And so once we presented all the unique selling propositions for our brand, here's where we build trust.
Yeah.
Don't just take my word for it.
Here we go. All right. So now we're going to go into trust building mode. Let's see what we got here. So
take my word. Check out the thousands of reviews from guys just like us. So if you haven't tried WYR yet, I got one question. What are you waiting for?
All right, there we go. So, all right, so that's the trust building part in a couple sentences. So yeah, dishes to the reviews. Walk me through reviews. When did you start to get good reviews, and how have reviews worked for you? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so there wasn't really any magic to it, man. I mean, I think it's just like the proof is in the pudding kind of thing. And we actually I was surprised that people were going to like the product that much. And because I personally, I'm not a review writer, like unless I'm crapping on something. But I was so surprised that people were just like hitting us with 5 stars, like this is the best quality I've ever worn. Like, I'm like, that's insane. Like that that to me was one of those things that that just took me back. And I was like, man, there is something here, and good reviews are the things that honestly just keep me going. That there's not always good reviews, but the rate of 5 star reviews that we get as opposed to like 4 or 3 star or even 2 star reviews is just insane. And I think the percentage of reviews that we get as opposed to sales is probably a little higher than industry average. Because I look at other people with like, 5-6 times our sales, and they probably don't have as many reviews or as equivalent of a ratio of reviews as we do versus sales. So it's kind of the game, right? Like that was kind of the bet. It's okay to maybe lose a little bit on the customer purchase one, but the confidence that we have in the product is that people are going to come back and buy more, which has come to fruition, really.
That's a really interesting part of content, which is the reviews, right? Because it's not content you control, right? It's content created by your customers. And the thing that I mean, to me, I'm always skeptical about reviews because I'm like, how many of these are, the guy's mom, and how many of these are or the bad reviews, like how many of those are the competitor just being like, yeah, let's just trash this guy so that, why not, so but walk me through, like, that's great that you got all these different reviews. Like, what's your strategy around reviews? Because I mean, reviews are the name of the game these days, right? So many people put stock in them. So what do you do to make sure that you manage your reviews?
Timing, really. I mean, I think the best thing so we have this software that tracks when an item's shipped out, and we send a review basically 10 business days from when the item's actually shipped out of our facility. What we try to do is get it, you must have received the product, because, times where we sent reviews too early and we've had like shipping delays or anything, you always get like a 1-star review. Like, I didn't get the shirt, 1 star. I'm like,
that sucks.
We're not, it's crazy, but we don't control USPS. But anyways, that's a separate issue.
You can only make clothing right again. You can't do everything.
Yeah, we're not the, but anyways, so timing was really key. So we wanted to get it in. We wanted to get in a review or a review email. Maybe 2-3 days after you'd received the product, because one, you still had a lasting impression of the thing, and two, you were still impressed by it. I don't want to send you something like 2 weeks after and you kind of forgot it. And then we obviously incentivize people, so we give people 20% off their next order if they leave us a review.
Got it. Okay, so number one, though, I mean, you're asking for reviews, which I think there's not enough people who just ask for the review, because I think they're afraid, what they're afraid of the bad reviews. So walk me through the courage, man. Like, that must have been tough. Like, the very first time you opened up your reviews and you got a new one and somebody body slammed your product. What was that like?
I look at all of them. It's It was rough, but I mean, I just message people back and I just want to get feedback. I mean, initially when we first started this, it was more like, I actually just want to know what the issues are, because I want to fix, because within in the first 6 months of our launch, from June 2020 all the way through December, I mean, we literally just sold like 1,000 items. I mean, it was nothing, but from those 1,000 items, we got really, really valuable feedback. And I wanted to listen to it. I wanted to know what's out there. And then when we got to a point where I felt comfortable with the changes that we've made to the product and the fit, I was like, well, people are just gonna like it. Because if you like the one before it, you're definitely gonna like this. So there was no being afraid. Where I would say I was a little hesitant and afraid is that I actually had to put my name out there a lot, which I really wasn't a fan of doing, but in the ethos of WYR, where we don't want to hire expensive models, we don't want to have like athletes who represent the brand, it had to be me. Like, someone had to actually like communicate the value propositions to customers and to consumers that are like constantly buying the brand, which is nice because I'm free, obviously, but it's rough because like sometimes you get nasty emails like
Oh
direct-
no.
it's like
So do you do the David Goggins thing? Do you know what that is?
no, what is that?
So David Goggins, in like his last book, he said he does this. I'm not brave enough to do this, but he makes a recording of him reading all the negative things that people say about him. He just plays the recording on the speakers around his whole house, like at night, just getting like pumped up. I would get so angry if I had to listen to that all the time. But
Yeah,
apparently he says that if you do that, eventually it has no power over you, which I thought was kind of cool. So you don't record all of your naysayers who are like bashing you and
No.
listen to it over and over again.
No,
Like David
because
Goggins?
sometimes like this is it. I mean, our shirts are made. Our clothing in general is very subjective. I mean, if it fits 95% of the people out there, goal well accomplished. I mean, some people, some people are just, it's just not going to work for everyone.
There's always going to be long tails on the distribution curve, right? Yeah.
And I used to get heated up with like negative comments all the way through like maybe 2 years ago, and now it's just it is what it is. Like, this is a business. Can't do much about it. I'll fix as much as I can, but some things they are what they are. You cannot please everyone. That is the rule that I go by.
All right.
Yeah.
So have you ever had like a wild failure, like in all your content experiences? Have you ever put a piece of content out there and been like, oh, that one still pains me to this day? Anything like that ever happened?
Yeah. So so that same firm that or that same company that helped me shoot that killer ad, I was like, well, great. So by the way,
Let's do it again.
that killer ad cost almost nothing. Like as compared to the amount of money that we actually made from that ad, it was insane.
Really?
But I actually wrote the ad. Like, I literally personally wrote the script of the ad, and I picked the model. I was like, "We'll just do these exact things," and it turned out awesome. So
Well, I want to stop on that point for a minute. How long did it take you to write that script?
couple days. I mean, it was just because I just knew the things that I wanted to hit. I was like, I just want a confident dude that like looks you straight in the eye and sells you the thing. That's it. This is actually a big company. This is kind of it's a big marketing company. So I'm not gonna mention their name.
Yeah. We don't need to bash them. That's cool.
But yeah. So I was like, all right, well, these guys did a great job. Really, it was me that did a great job. But anyway, I was like, well, I'm gonna have them, give them free reign to like, you now know the brand. You've now shot stuff with us. I'm gonna
go forth and prosper. Big marketing.
I want to quadruple down on this because I want like 5 more explosive ads, right? Put a lot of money down, gave them free reign, and they suggested a female spokesperson, and then
female spokesperson for a male clothing line,
right? And
edgy choice.
Yeah. So at the moment, I was like, man, this is kind of risky. Like, is this going to be good? Is this going to work out? It didn't work out. So that's just the punchline.
Okay.
And I think also it was a lesson that I don't think guys really want to listen to, not necessarily women, but they want to listen to something from people that they relate to, people that are their peers as opposed to like someone else.
Well, okay. So let's break that down a bit before everybody goes crazy about it, right? I mean, you had males on that didn't look like the people, and you were like, here's some pictures, and nobody went with that, right? And now you have females on talking about your stuff, and nobody's going with that. So is the conclusion maybe not male or female, but maybe the conclusion there is, if it's a shirt and I'm going to be wearing it, I need to see someone who either looks like me or at best is somebody I aspire to look like. Probably I don't look like the guy in your picture there, but I would like to look like him. That would be pretty cool.
But you are within the bandwidth of our audience. You're right. It's not just guy or girl. It really isn't if it sounded like that. But it's more like it needs to be. If you're someone who's going to buy something from the brand, it needs to be someone that represents you, or at least
you can identify with,
or that you can identify with. Audience is key, and then I would say execution too. Like the ad tried to be funny, but it wasn't really funny, So it didn't work out, but spent a lot of money regretted it, but it's a data point, right? It's you cannot take failures as this thing that shit. I just spent 30 grand on this, and it's the price to play.
Yeah. So walk me through what you do now. Like, what's coming next in the content world for you? You don't have to give us any spoilers, but like, you got something cooking in the content realm that you're going to be launching that's going to, take you to the next level? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah. So I'll tell you something that's recently worked for us that I'm also continuing to double down on. I hate to say it that way, but it's almost like content hacking. It's weird because I get inspiration from, brands across the board, and I see lots of people doing it. In fact, this was inspired by a razor company that did this really well. So it's just something a style of content that's been really popular recently is podcasts. So
You don't say.
yeah. Yes, it's crazy. It's crazy, but like if you scroll through TikTok, you scroll through Instagram, you see like, this guy saying, some crazy outrageous statement. You're like, wait a minute. No, it's not. And then you stop and you listen. So, so content hacking that I've been trying to do is podcasting. So I've actually put out a few podcast pieces of material that kind of advertise the brand, and they work pretty well. So I'll continue doing that. But then, in that same vein, I'm also working through a couple of more humorous pieces of content, hopefully coming in the next couple of months. So,
okay, all right.
You always have to keep an eye out on the competition, see what everyone's doing, look at the trends, make sure any trend that you're trying to jump on doesn't necessarily preclude your target audience, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you don't want something that fizzles, right?
Yeah. You don't want something that fizzles, or you don't want to do like a Gen X trend or a Gen Z trend, and all my buyers are millennials. Like, it's not gonna work. So
yeah, awesome. All right, man. Well, that sounds pretty cool. So, all right. So, as we wrap up, why don't you tell me if someone wants to buy some WYR clothing, where do they go?
Well, they go to the website, WYRwear.com. That is WYRWEAR.com.
Yeah. So it's not wire like a live wire, WIRE. It's WYR, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And so it's WYRwear.com. Okay.
And the reason being is it's one, all the names were literally taken at that point, and that's the domain name that we're able to buy. We also just launched kind of a teaser tester 3-pack on Amazon, so people can go check us out there. So
okay, all right. Well, so WYR on Amazon or WYRwear.com. Now, is there any kind of cool promo code for our audience? Anything that you can give them?
Oh, I was not prepared for that. Let me send you something
in the show notes.
Let me send you something, and maybe we can add it on the show notes. That way we can give your audience a nice discount.
All right, you content marketers, we'll send that out to you, and make sure that you have it. So there you have it, Karim. Thank you so much for being on Content Kingdom. It's been a pleasure, man. And yeah, good luck with everything with WYR. I'll be your biggest fan. I'm wearing the clips, man. It's great.
Same here. Excited to do things with Content Lion. When you first pitched the idea, I told you, like, dude, this is the perfect name because content is king. There's no disputing that. It's So, anyways, good luck with Content Lion, and excited to work more with the software.
Awesome. Thanks, Karim. See you. Bye.
Cheers. Have a good day. Bye.